Thanks everybody for tuning in to our presentation. This is the second in the series on learning how to use LinkedIn for business and how to increase your referrals, increase your connections, and jumpstart your 2012. With me tonight from the Business Connection, myself, Brian Daly, my good friends Dave Steinfeld and Jeffrey Mans. By the way, check us out at giversalwaysgain.com. Free website and lots of great stuff on there for you to a great way for you to connect with close to 800 local businesses now and growing all the time, and it's all free. Let me jump right into our presentation. We have a lot of stuff to cover, and the other night we did it live and something happened to the recording, so we are redoing the webinar so we can record it. So hopefully we won't have any problems with the recording. And here we go. I would suggest that you take notes, take your notebook. You can't type in questions because we're not live. We did have a great question and answer session on the last one, but take notes and practice this stuff. You know, don't just come to webinars without applying it. You know, you've heard the saying before that knowledge is power. It's really not. It's applied knowledge that's power. So try it out. Try some of the things that we're talking about here tonight, and try them out right away. So you know the lessons are still fresh in your mind. We did the recording of the first one, which is I am on LinkedIn Now What, and that's on our blog at giversalwaysgain.net. The website is giversalwaysgain.com, and our blog is .net. Or if you're having any trouble downloading it or getting it, you can always email me at brian@briandaly.com. That's the recording from the first one. Our third one will be sometime next year. We haven't announced the date. Haven't figured out when we're going to do it, but we will be doing one next year. And the purpose is, how do we convert LinkedIn into business? You know, you might have lots and lots of connections, but if it's not converting into relationships, if it's not converting into business, what good is it really, you know? Well, talk a little bit about the Business Connection, what's special about us, what's different, unique, lots of things, but first and foremost is no dues, no fees, and no mandatory meetings. We are about 4,000 members. And most of those members are in Palm Beach County, now moving into Broward and Miami-Dade, and of course Martin County, as well as Boston, New York, Atlanta, Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville. So that gives you local exposure as well as a wide-reaching exposure all at the same time. And these are the names that we're under in LinkedIn. You can look us up on LinkedIn under, you know, add the like Palm Beach Business Connection, Broward Business Connection, Martin, Miami-Dade, Latino Business Connection, etc. And you can find that we will have, Jeff, I think we're going to put that on our blog, giversalwaysgain.net. We're going to have a page on there just for all the places that you can connect with us on LinkedIn and also on Facebook.
Actually, that list is already up there, Brian. It's on the blog, which is giversalwaysgain.net. And, of course, you can click on blog if you're over at our website, at the .com website. And if you look under the Business Connection blog, the first item down is LinkedIn and Facebook groups. So it's the page, when you click on the very first item, Business Connection blog, you'll see right below that, LinkedIn and Facebook groups. And that's where our list is, our master list of LinkedIn groups and Facebook groups.
What took you so long?
I know. There you go. Efficiency.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, buddy.
Sure, Brian, I would say that if people are not joining all these Business Connection groups on LinkedIn, they really need to take a step back and consider why they're not taking advantage of them, because there are people in those areas, like in Chicago and San Francisco and Los Angeles, that have joined those groups. And if you're not joining those for free, you're missing the opportunity to expose your business to them. You never know when somebody in Seattle is looking to do business in South Florida to expand their business, and this is a way to reach out to them and for them to reach you.
Awesome.
Yeah, and to underscore that, Dave, we have a phenomenon that's very unique in South Florida. It's called snowbirds. We have lots of business professionals that spend half the year someplace else. Then they come to South Florida, and they're looking for the same kind of support that they got back home. So that's an important thing to expose your business out in the other LinkedIn groups that we have.
Good point. Good point, guys. Exactly. The Business Connection is about 15 months old now. And, what we wanted to do with this was make it so that we could connect both online and offline and combine the two. And there's a lot of synergy that's created as a result of being able to do that, where, the sum of the parts exceed how does that go, Jeff? The sum of the parts exceed the whole, whatever.
Well, the sum of the parts is greater than the whole.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
That's the thing there. The sum of the parts is greater than the whole, which means as we band together that we'll do a lot better collectively than we would do separately.
See what happens when you try to use big words? So anyway, we do a lot of stuff. We do webinars. We do stuff online. We have, but we also, having stuff online is not enough. Because we are people, we still need that face-to-face. We still need those connections. So we have coffee meetings and breakfasts and socials and happy hours and all sorts of stuff. And you can find that on our website. The idea, of course, is we're not only building networks, but we're building tribes. If you've ever read anything by Seth Godin, great books. And the idea is to build your own network inside our network. We've already put it together. Now you just have to do the work, which is not only connecting online, but it's also connecting offline as well. And here's our pictures. You probably saw it from the first program. That's me, Brian Daly, Jeff Manns, and Dave Steinfeld. And I want to thank those guys for taking time out of their Sunday night for free. We don't charge for this stuff, and they're not getting paid for it to offer.
Wait, we're not getting paid?
And that's givers always gain. Let's walk the walk and talk the talk, right?
Thank you, Brian. Thanks for putting this together.
Yes, I think it's great stuff. The response that we've gotten back from folks has been tremendous, and we'll continue to keep doing them as long as people get value from them. I'm not an expert on social media. My opinion, I think there's probably about 6 experts on social media in the whole world. It's changing and evolving all the time, etc. I just know how to use what I know how to use, and we put this together to kind of share with you what's been working for me in my business using the technology. And you can choose to follow it or not. It's up to you. But I make some suggestions and recommendations. The first one is, have a habit. A system is just another way of saying a habit. You can have good systems and bad systems, like good habits and bad habits. But good habits with social media is you got to be engaged. You can't sit back as a casual observer, and you've got to do it on a regular and consistent basis. It's like learning anything new, tennis, whatever. You got to practice, you got to show up, and you got to do it on a regular and consistent basis. If you pick up a racket once every 6 months, you'll never learn how to play the game. So I suggest that you put in at least 20 minutes a day, maybe 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes at night. Check your emails, go through your social media, build new connections, and deepen existing connections. And some of the ways to deepen those connections is comment, like, and share, which we're going to talk about. Get together with people for coffee. Come to the coffee meetups. Come to the events that we do. It's a great way to get to know folks.
Hey, Brian,
yeah.
Putting this stuff on your smartphone now makes it a lot easier because you don't have to be tied to a desktop or even a laptop. You could be out and about doing something, and you have a few minutes, just like when you check your email, you just pop onto those sites on your smartphone, LinkedIn particularly.
Awesome. Yep, exactly. And we're seeing more and more people do that. You're waiting for an appointment or you got a few minutes in between. You might want to pop in there and do that. That the immediacy today of the internet, and people are almost looking for instant feedback. And, if you waited a day or two today in today's world, is an eternity when it comes to getting back with folks. I don't know why I put this up there. My network. Why did I put that up there?
I just think it's to show, how many, just even 2 degrees away, how many people are really connected to you on LinkedIn, how it multiplies so fast.
Yeah, good point. We talked about this on the first one. If I was your only connection, just by adding me to your contacts, you've added 2.6 million people to your network. That's just, the abundance of contacts and connections out there, but you still need a way of turning it into business. Having a ton of contacts and connections doesn't do you any good. And I know why I put this up there. The difference between my network on November 29th and December 6th, I went from 9,400 to 9,616 in those however many days that is. And I added 200 first degree connections, and it turned into from 2.6 million second to 2.7, which is an increase in my second of 103,000 people.
In a week.
Yeah, in a week. That's just, there were 23,000 new people that came into my network since December 6th. And I don't know what date I did this as of, but there's so much out there to connect with, and such an abundance of potential business and relationships for you. I think you're crazy if you don't take full advantage of the tools. The first one we did was about profile. Tonight is about search and keywords. The third program we're going to do is about training class that we're going to do is about groups. And then we're going to get into applications, connecting, and posting. This came from, if you've ever watched Boardwalk Empire, I know Jeff does. There was a story in that show, an HBO series, that somebody wanted to know what was the difference between heaven and hell. So they took the person to hell, and sitting around a banquet table were a bunch of starving folks with food everywhere, except the spoons were so long that they could not feed themselves, so they were starving. They took the same person and they brought him to heaven, and everybody in there was fat and happy and plump and rosy and so on, but they all had the same long spoons. And the difference between the two was, in heaven, they fed each other. And you think about that. I love that story of, giving unto others. Part of our giver's gain and promoting others is, I think a great story about the difference between heaven and hell. Feeding, each other as opposed to, trying to self-promote yourself out there on the internet, and offline as well. So comment, like, and share. Every time you hit a comment, like, and share, it increases your visibility. Your face pops up, and people get reminded of, oh yeah, there's Dave Steinfeld again. That's right, he's the attorney, and so on. It also helps people to become closer to you. It starts to develop and can begin to develop friendships and relationships with folks. If you're comment, liking, and sharing on other people's posts, they turn around and they say, hey, you know what, that Dave Steinfeld, he's a good guy, he's a nice guy. Maybe I should get to know him a little bit better, that sort of thing. It also creates social proof that if you're going through and looking at stuff online and you see that there's one comment or no comments, it's just like, why even bother? Now, if you look at something else, this could be the exact same post, and there's 389 comments and a whole bunch of likes and shares, that draws your attention and creates the social proof that whatever that post was or comment was is important. Right, wrong, or indifferent, that's just the way that it works. And think about it, if we could start collecting our group power where we were comment, liking, and sharing on each other's stuff, the 4,000 members in our group, what if we could just get 1,000 folks to start plugging into comment, like, and share, and they're sharing it with, let's say, an average of 500 connections. Let's say that the average person between all of their social media has 500 connections. That's 500,000 people that are getting exposed to your message with just a click of a button. And again, it's kind of the same story with those long spoons. Try to feed yourself, you'll go hungry. Feed others, you'll be fat and happy. Okay. Here's an example of comment, liking, and sharing. Joe put this up here, and Deborah. Basically, when they hit the little thumbs up like button, their names pop up. And I always like to recognize when folks, whenever possible, when I'll just say, thanks for the like, thanks for the retweet, thanks for the post, thanks for the share. And again, what do? I'm also getting, that's another opportunity for me to be more visible out there as well. Susan did this the other night. She sent this out. When she hits the like button, by the way, that shows up in her LinkedIn feed, and it shows up to all the people that she's connected to when they go to her page one news feed, if you will. So when she put that up there, and then there's Susan and her picture, and then I put, thanks for the share. And here's another example with Joan Rosenberg. Joan Rosenberg's a great one. She's got the idea. She knows the concept of comment, liking, and sharing. And here the group gets exposure as well as Joan gets exposure, and whatever else was on the the content, if you will, gets exposure as well. And if Joan has a couple of thousand connections, every time she hits that like, there were 3 people that hit that like. So I don't know, that could be 20, 30,000 possible people just with 3 likes getting that message out there. Sharing the group across different platforms. If you go into the Palm Beach Business Connection, up here in the right-hand corner, there's a little button that says Share Group. Why would you want to grow our group? Well, every new member that comes in brings an entire network with them. You have 4,000 people in the groups. They all bring in one new person. We just went to 8,000 members. That increases your opportunities, your referrals, your business. If we all do it collectively, this thing could be tremendous in a very short period of time. So learn how to do the share the group. And remember, each new member to our group brings an entire network with them. You can share this across LinkedIn, your Twitter, your Facebook, and you can even invite others, even if they're not on LinkedIn. You can share discussions. If you go into the group and then go into the discussions, if you really like this one got shared a lot, was the recording from the LinkedIn training. When you put that out there, that goes out to your news feeds, your groups, etc. But what it does then, it brings them back to the Business Connection, and folks will say, hey, this Business Connection is sharing great stuff, great information. I want to share it with my contacts and my connections. And then your contacts and connections go, hey, you know what? That Joan Rosenberg, she's always sharing great stuff, great content. She's not out there just self-promoting herself. She's sharing useful stuff. They start paying attention more to the stuff that you're putting out there, as opposed to just blasting, your commercial, if you will. And when you hit that button, by the way, over here on LinkedIn, it shows up this way. So you can post it to your updates, which is the common news feed wall. You can post it to groups, and all the groups that you're associated with just by starting to type in the name. If you start, typing A, all the A groups all the groups that start with the letter A will appear here, and you just hit enter. So you could add all of your groups in there very, very quickly. You can send it to individuals, and you can also enter email for people that you're not connected to who are not on LinkedIn. So getting used to comment, liking, and sharing, and especially sharing the group and sharing discussions. When you share it to Facebook, if you want to share it on your wall, on a friend's wall, in a group, or on a page, or as a private message. These are all the different ways that you can share, going back to this right here. So you hit this button, and that's what comes up. Okay? The screen's moving too fast. You guys okay with that?
Yes, you're doing fine.
Okay, good.
You're fine, okay.
You can also share with that little 1+ button. If you're not on Google+, it's free. Very quick to set up. Copy and paste your profile from your LinkedIn over to Google+, and you'll be in your picture, and you're up and running in 15 minutes. But you can share discussions from LinkedIn now with this little plus button that's here on the share discussions. That's what that little, you can't really see it too well on this screen, but if you hit that 1+ button, that's what shows up. And then you can add your comments and see who you're going to share it with, etc. Some people tell me I don't like Google+, or look, it's Google. Google is the granddaddy of search. I think you're crazy if you don't have a presence there, at least. Okay, that's what I had to cover. And how are we doing on time, Jeff?
Oh, I think we're doing perfect. That was about 20 minutes. That was great.
Awesome. I know we ran through it real quick, and we've saved the best stuff for last. And you want me to change presenters, Jeff, and turn it over to you?
No, I'll just ask you to advance through the slides, and that's fine.
Okay.
That works out fine. So no reason to get too fancy on this. There's not that many slides for me. So I guess I'll take it over at this point. Okay, Jeff Manns here, and in my section I'm going to talk about searching, but first I wanted to revisit a little bit what I went over in the first webinar, which was the keywords. But just to recap what Brian just went over, why would you want to like, comment, and share? Well, this is what's in it for you. It's higher visibility, and we all know that visibility leads to credibility, which ultimately leads to profitability. So like, comment, and share, that's what's in it for you. That's what gets you out there and keeps you in front of the pack, and that's, that visibility is what's going to drive business your way ultimately. So recapping a little bit of what we did in the first webinar, we talked about optimizing profiles, and we talked about using keywords, which kind of ties into the next exercise, which is search. It's kind of the flip side of search, if you will. But keywords, with LinkedIn is becoming an extremely powerful database. And what do I mean by that? They're collecting so much information, and they've developed tools for us to slice and dice that information so that we can really zero in on our target market, on our greatest referral source, our synergy partners out there at almost light speed. And that's the real leverage here of LinkedIn, is that you're able to go and find the folks that are most likely to give you referrals for your business. And I just wanted to show, when I clicked on the people search there, that not only can you search for people, but you can keyword search updates, jobs, companies, even the answers area. What is that? That's a help area that I actually used the other day. I had a question about posting a YouTube link into one of the comment areas on the discussion board and was having a little trouble, and like 5 people answered me within minutes as to what I might have been doing wrong there. So a very powerful feature, and as you can see, you can search through groups. If you go to the next slide, Brian. Okay, revisiting keywords. Under people, I'm just going to give you a scenario of how you can use this in real life, rubber to the road scenario. Let's make believe I'm a CPA. one of my natural synergy partners would be a financial planner. So here I am. I noticed in my network I don't have that many financial planners. So what I want to do is I want to find other financial planners, and this exercise is, remember, we're talking about financial planners or synergy people that eventually I'm going to want to meet face-to-face. And this is how I'm going to find them. So I start off by typing in financial planner, and as you can see, the first results came up of 124,611, 124,000 results. And just as an aside, I just want to go into, you see this guy Greg with his MBA came up top out of 124,000. In other words, he was the first one I found, okay? And notice the keywords he salted his profile with, both his current experience and past experience. Why don't you go to the next slide, Brian? Where the exercise I was telling you about, the current and past experience, taking your 2 or 3 or 4 keyword phrases as he did, financial planner, financial advisor, investment advisor, and so forth, you can see that he knows the tricks. He has optimized his profile like we talked in our first segment on LinkedIn, and this is paying off for him because out of 124,000, he came to the top. And just to show you how deep he went into his profile, I want you to click on the next slide, Brian. You'll see I expanded that area, and look at that. He's got the word financial, financial planner, advisor all over the place in his resume, if you will, in his current and past employment experience. And that's the way to get on top. So we're going to go to the next slide. So here, just to get back to LinkedIn's powerful advanced search tools, I'm clicking on advanced to the right there, and my big red circle where Brian's highlighting, to get to the advanced tools. And I'm just showing you actually the first half of the first page here of all the things that LinkedIn allows us to search by. Not only keywords, but you get first name, last name, location, you know, what country, what zip code, and then even below zip code, and we're going to go into this in our example on how to zero in on a mile radius within your zip code. Of course, industries and groups and companies. I mean, it just goes on and on and on, and they're just keep adding more stuff every day. Go to the next slide, Brian. So here, I said, okay, we started with our example financial planner, and we came up with those 124,000 results. Well, now I'm going to drill down a little bit deeper, and I'm going to go to the next slide, Brian. And I'm going to expand it and say, okay, not only want financial planners, but I want them within my postal zip code, but not too far away from me, within 25-mile radius of my zip code. Now, I live in West Palm, so that 25-mile radius probably takes me up to Jupiter and probably down to Boca. So it covers a good part of the Palm Beach County area, and that's what I'm trying to zero in on. And as you can see, that has reduced my results down to a more manageable number of 342 versus 124,000 we had before. Why don't we go to the next slide, Brian? Okay, now I want to take it down a little bit further. I said, well, gee, I really, I want to add people to my network. Remember we talked about that, building your network within our Business Connection network. So what I want to do is I want to meet people that I haven't met before, that I haven't connected with before. So now I went down to the third area under relationships, and I said, just give me the ones that are my second connections. That means I'm not connected with them yet, but I'm only one degree away from connecting with them. So I'm just going to drill down a little further, and if we go to the next slide, you'll see now my results, when I fine-tune it on the third level, is now down to 117, which is still a lot of people. So I'm going to try to drill it down a little bit further, and why don't we go to the next slide, Brian? And now I'm going to say, okay, these folks I am not connected with. I don't know them. Where do I have some common ground? Well, I'm going to find the ones that belong to one of the largest networking groups out there, meaning LinkedIn groups, which is the South Florida Business Professionals. We've all talked about that before. That's a big group, 5,000 people. So I want to meet the ones that I can say to them, hey, I notice we belong to the same LinkedIn group. It gives me something in common to talk to them about. It gives me a subject that I can approach them on. So I decided, okay, I'm going to check off and find just the ones that are in the same group as me. So I'm drilling down a little further, and just as an aside, before we get to the next slide, let's go back one. I just want to also point out that with the LinkedIn Premier accounts, you'll see these little gold symbols. Like in groups, they do allow you to drill down at one group at a time. If you wanted to do multiple groups, if I wanted to find financial planners in 3 groups, let's say, that I belong to, that would require the premium account. The other areas that are in the premium account are years of experience, functions, and seniority level, more employee-related stuff, by the way. But those you can pick up if you decide to go with the premium account. Okay, let's go to that next slide, Brian. Okay, now you can see that the ones that are actually financial planners within 25 miles of my zip code and are second connections with me that I want to now make first connections with me, and I have something in common with them, which we're in the same group, South Florida Business Professionals, is now down to a manageable 14 key people that ultimately I want to ask them for a connection under the premise, hey, we both belong to the same group, let's get together, and I'm going to invite them to join the Business Connection group in Broward or in Dade. And once they're there, then I'll invite them out for coffee to meet my 40 friends that are out there that I can introduce them to. And now I have 14 new people that I've targeted, that I have something in common with, some benefit I can bring them, not only as a CPA in my example, but also sharing our Business Connection group with them and bringing that relationship offline. I now have 14 people I can set up appointments with over the next few weeks as I connect with them. Go to the next slide, Brian. And okay, there was one last thing. Yeah, let's go back to my last slide. I wanted to also point out this filtering process I went through. I can save it, and under the free account, you can save up to 3 of them. So I don't have to recreate this every time I want to find this list of names. I can save it as a predefined filtering. So I can do actually 3 of them and save them, so I can keep revisiting these lists as I go through and start meeting these, in this case, 14 new people. So I just wanted to point that out, that you can save this filtering list. So this, I think, is a perfect example of how to use search to drill down, find your synergy partners, contacting them, bringing them into the Business Connection group, sharing our resources with them, and then, of course, taking it from online to offline and start developing relationships with these folks. So that's my example for tonight for advanced search.
Awesome. Great job. Thank you, Jeff. And just to reiterate that point, when we're calling folks on the phone, we're not calling them on the phone to say, hey, I'm the computer guy. Let me come and fix your computers. Instead, what we're saying is, hey, listen, we're both part of the same group. We're in the same area. Why don't we network together? And by the way, I'd like to introduce you to the thousands of people that are in my business group. Why don't you come out and meet coffee? I'd like to come out and have coffee. I'd like to introduce you to some of the members of the group. So great job, buddy.
And who would refuse an invitation like that, Brian, right? To introduce them to, dozens of your friends out there at the coffee meetups. I mean, what more valuable way for them to build their business? And
by the way, no dues, no membership fees. We're non-exclusive group, and there's no mandatory meetings. It's kind of a no-brainer.
And you're building your network inside of the Business Connection network, leveraging all the free stuff that we give to build your business by helping them build their business.
Awesome. Great stuff, buddy. Appreciate that. How are we doing on time so far? Oh, we're doing awesome. We're doing awesome.
Yeah, I think I probably did about 18 minutes, something like that.
Well, good deal, good deal. Okay, next on deck is our good friend, Mr. Dave Steinfeld. Dave, you want to jump into this, pal, and take it away?
Sure. Thank you, Brian, and thank you, Jeff, for that instruction. I always learn a lot from listening to Jeff's instruction and get a lot of tips and hints out of how to use LinkedIn and how to better extend my usage and reach in LinkedIn. It's a very beneficial social media tool, and thank you, Jeff. I'm going to speak about another form of social media, which is SlideShare, which didn't just burst on the scene. It's actually a couple of years old, but like most of these, it really wasn't in common use until just recently. It existed, but it wasn't widely used. SlideShare is essentially a repository for your articles, your slide presentations in PowerPoint, and videos. And the one benefit is that you can cross-link and cross-connect a lot of these materials, and as you can see from the slide that's up there now, you can embed your YouTube videos into SlideShare. And why would you want to do that? Because you can easily integrate SlideShare right into your LinkedIn profile. It's one of the few applications that LinkedIn has where if you post an article into SlideShare or you incorporate a YouTube video into your SlideShare site or even a presentation like Brian has done with even these webinars, you can import that automatically and directly right into your LinkedIn profile. So anyone that looks at your LinkedIn profile will see your presentations, documents, videos right through that profile, which increases your visibility to search engines and on the web. It's all free. There is a pay account just like LinkedIn, but you can get tremendous usage out of the free version. And there are also groups, as you can see from this slide. We have the Palm Beach Connection Link Local group on SlideShare, and that's where a lot of our webinars are deposited, where you can go there, join the group, and every time we post a new presentation, slides, video, it's automatically there. Next slide, please. Okay, it's slideshare.net. It's not .com. It's a .net. That's the one distinction to know. You can post presentation documents and videos. Presentations are, of course, PowerPoint slides, or if you don't use PowerPoint, you can use the OpenOffice equivalent, which is OpenOffice Impress. And 55 million monthly visitors looking at 120 million pages per month. It's a tremendous number of people that are on there. Just like at YouTube, you can go and look at the information that people have posted. You can, just like a PowerPoint presentation, you can embed your videos into it. So you can post a video on YouTube, embed it into your SlideShare presentation. Like I mentioned a moment ago, you can post it into your LinkedIn profile. And also, you can post it to Facebook. It won't integrate into your profile like it will in LinkedIn, but you can share directly from SlideShare into a LinkedIn group, into a Facebook wall or a Facebook group. And you can also do that directly to blogs and websites. You can post, for example, an article on SlideShare, and then either using the link or the share feature, you can put it directly into your blog or a website, and it shows up on the website as an image that when someone clicks on that article, it transports them back to SlideShare. There are also some other features that SlideShare, go back one please, Brian. There's also some other features that SlideShare offers that are SlideCasts, which essentially is like sort of what we're doing now, where you'd have a presentation and an MP3 layered on top of it, and you save that together, integrating the audio to the SlideShare, and they call that SlideCast. Zipcast is something new that SlideShare recently developed and rolled out. It is a free online meeting. It's similar to the GoToWebinar that you're looking at now, but it's a little bit less advanced. There's a free version and there's a pay version. The difference is that with the free version, it's public. Anybody can join in. The pay version, of course, is private, where you can have only invitees. The audio we found, Brian and I have tooled around with it a little bit. It's not quite as efficient for what we're doing for these presentations as GoToWebinar is, so we haven't switched over to that just yet, but you could get some usage out of it in your own presentations. And you can do, of course, SlideShare Mobile, which you can have on any mobile device. I've got it on a tablet. I've got it on my smartphone. You can post things on there. You can view things. Very efficient. Next slide, please, Brian. Brian? Okay. All right, let me walk you through the process and show you just how easy it is to sign up on SlideShare. For anyone who isn't on SlideShare, it's very simple. You just click the sign up button, and this is the screen that you're going to see. A lot of people are very conscious and cautious about signing up for all all the social media because they aren't really comfortable with putting a lot of personal information out on the web, or a lot of people think it asks me for all this secret information like my social security number, date of birth, mother's maiden name, and I don't know who any of these people are. This could be in some foreign land, and they're going to steal my identity. As you can see, all they ask you for is a username, a password, email address, and then you type in that little text to verify that you're a real person, not some kind of a computer program. And you could make any username that you want. It doesn't even have to be your real name. You can use a Gmail address or anything. So it's not really conducive to stealing someone's identity. You shouldn't worry about that you're going to sign up for the social media and somebody's going to walk around with credit cards and ID with your name on it. To create your profile, and again, you can put as much or as little information as you'd like. This is my profile that I've created, and you can see on the left in the red box the navigation for the personal information. There's picture uploads and things like that. You definitely want to put a picture on there because you're cross-linking this stuff into LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and all other social media. So you want to, the best thing to do is to use the same picture so you're easily recognized, but you definitely want to have a picture on there so you're visible. My name is there, gender, date of birth, which you don't have to put in there. And then you can see it just asks for some basic information. Asks you about your occupation, workplace, the tags. Now the tags, just like what Jeff was talking about in the first presentation that he reviewed a little bit earlier, the tags here are an opportunity for you to put a lot of terms in about yourself where search engines and individuals can find that. I put in a lot of duplication because I don't know what someone's going to look for. They may type in the word lawyer, they might type in the word attorney, they might type derogatory terms because a lot of people would think of that in derogatory terms. I'm just kidding. But if you put in a lot of keywords and tags, it makes it easier for people to find you, and there's no limit on what you can put in there. So you might as well be creative, because if someone searches for your information or the postings that you put, they'll be able to find you a lot easier. And at the bottom, you could put a little description where they have a limit there, but you can put a description about yourself. And you really should maintain a very similar description across the board, so it's a lot easier for you just to cut and paste out of your LinkedIn profile or YouTube or any of the other social media to keep it consistent. Next slide, please, Brian. This is what you see when you look at your profile. This is mine. You can see I put my picture there. I've got some basic background information. Now, in the About section, just like Jeff has taught me about posting all those little keywords, and Brian has counseled me about getting your other information in there, you'll see in the red box to the left, I put links to my Facebook and my Twitter account as well as my own personal website. There's really no limit on what you can put there and what you can't put there. So why wouldn't you want to make it easier for people to connect with you? And SlideShare itself does not have right now, doesn't have any kind of a link where you put that information in. So put it in your About area, and you can see all the different tags that are there to make it easier for people to find. Now, the way that they break this out is presentations, documents, and videos. Brian educated me on the presentation About Me, which you can see at the top. Brian had created a very quick, down and dirty PowerPoint presentation simply entitled About Me for himself, just with his picture and pictures of his dogs and his wife Ellen and a couple of little bits of information about him and hobbies and things like that, and threw it up on SlideShare just to see what would happen to it. And how many hits did you get, Brian, in the first day?
A couple hundred
or something.
Yeah, I think it was a couple hundred.
Yeah. I mean, that's, you don't know who's looking at that, but it's exposure. And why wouldn't you want to basically create a resume for yourself? I did this several days ago before the webinar, and you can see you just covered it up. But it 3 days before, and it already got 20-something views. And I think when I first checked it in the first 6 hours that it was up, it got 12 views. Now, I helped it along a little bit by cross-posting it into my LinkedIn profile. Because whoever looked at my LinkedIn profile saw this presentation come up, which gave it additional views. But you could see the power of these things. Right where your cursor is there, Brian, the highlight, we did a little experiment just to show you the power of cross-posting. In the middle there, it says Business Connection Webinar Announcement. For our first webinar, we wanted to demonstrate to people how this technology could be utilized. So we created a one-page announcement with the web address for the first webinar. We posted that in SlideShare, shared it to all the LinkedIn groups, and asked people to like, comment, and share just so they could watch what would happen to that presentation. And in 1 week, it got 245 views, just that one page, just the webinar announcement for the first webinar. And that was only posting it in the Business Connection groups where people liked, commented, and shared it. Other articles that I've posted there are topics in my business that have just appealed to me at one time or another that I wrote a little one-page article about that I've cross-posted into groups. I've cross-posted it onto my own website and back and forth, and you can see what happens with the number of views. So there's really no limit to what you can do with it, with the technology. And it is a lot of fun, to be honest, when you put these things up and you see a lot of people looking at them and commenting on them. Next slide, please, Brian. Okay, this is the little About Me presentation that Brian kind of elbowed me and nudged me to make, following his, just so we could see what would happen. And sure enough, you can see that at the top it shows you the analytics for whatever presentation you make. This got 28 views, and one, you see it says one embedded. That's the embedded view that I put into my LinkedIn profile, and I also put it onto my own website, so you can cross-post these things. This is just a simple kind of a pseudo resume, if you will. You know, interestingly, Brian, I was on SlideShare last night, and I was poking around to see what was out there in the About Me areas, and I saw someone who had really taken this to another level. It was a girl in the Midwest, and she had created a very nice presentation that was literally a resume with a nice background, a lot of colors. It had all kinds of pictures of where she used to work, where she works, and what her goals were, her skills. And it had pictures. She was like a hairdresser, and it had pictures of her at work doing what she was doing. And I thought that's fantastic, because if she's looking for a job or if she wants to connect with people, she can direct them to that before she ever goes in for a job interview, let's say, and they would be able to visually very quickly see where she's worked, what she's been doing. They could see photos of her through that little presentation. So it's you can be very creative with these. There's really no limit.
Dave, did you have you looked recently, because this was these slides were
quite a while ago. Yeah, this is prior to. I was doing this late one night, because you can see the time at the bottom says 12:09 a.m. This was, I think, a week ago. I don't know how many hits it's gotten as of today.
And which one of your slide shares got picked up by SlideShare and was broadcast nationally?
Right. Thank you. I forgot about that. That's the article that's a little bit further down from your highlighter there, to LLC or not to LLC, which was an article about a page and a half that I wrote about whether or not businesses should, when they incorporate, should go in Florida, should go as a limited liability company, or in other forms, say a regular corporation or partnership. It was just a topic that comes up in my line of work as a business litigation attorney a lot, and it was something that I thought would be beneficial to the members of Business Connection, particularly our Business Synergy group and a lot of local businesses. And I posted that on SlideShare and then cross-linked it into those LinkedIn groups. And I remember you calling me, Brian. I did it about Friday at 5 o'clock one day. And I remember I was on my way home from work, and you called me about 5:30 and said, that thing you posted just had like 30-something views in the past half an hour. And we were sort of wondering who's looking at this at 5:30 on a Friday. but it got so many views between that point and the following morning that I got an email from SlideShare that said, your article was viewed so many times in such a short period of time that we've moved it to the homepage of SlideShare and made it a featured item. And that happened with one of yours too, Brian, that you posted on there, which is that sort of adds to the fun of it because it gives you increased visibility on a national level.
And it becomes social proof, that this is something that I probably should take a look at. Look at all the people that are looking at this,
And at this point, it's been up for about a month, and it has almost 200 views, David.
Wow.
Yeah. 30 days, 200 views.
It's incredible when you stop and think about that this is the equivalent of sitting down over coffee and telling somebody your views on a particular topic.
So
now 200 people have looked at that.
About Me has 200 views?
No, I was talking about the article, the To LLC or Not to LLC.
Oh, okay.
Which was the featured article.
How many views does the About Me have now? Do you know, Jeff? Can you say there?
The About Me has 80.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, when you shot this, it was 26, right? Is that what I'm reading?
Yeah. That was about a week ago, I guess.
Yeah, the About Me has 80.
There's a lot of bored people out there.
Yeah, and I didn't even do a good job with this because all I did was put it on a white background. I didn't put any kind of a fancy background. It just has some bullet points. But one thing that I did do that people could also do is I cross-posted this into my own website, which is basically a blog website, so that when anybody goes to my website, the landing page is about me. So they'll land on it and they'll see an article and they'll see this presentation. And if they click on it and view it, it takes them to SlideShare. So it's a way of increasing your own visibility between the social media sites by cross-posting things.
Awesome.
And it's fun. It's fun to watch these things expand. Now, this is to look at further at the analytics. SlideShare does a very nice job at breaking down some of the analytics for you. And the red box on the right shows out of the 28 views that this had a week or so ago, it was 11 views on SlideShare direct, and it was 17 on the embeds, which means when I embedded it into LinkedIn, that's where people were seeing it the most, that and my website. But since my website was brand new, I think at that point, there it is, you got it. Yeah, 17 views on davidsteinfeld.com. So that's the, so it did go through the website and people saw it and then clicked back to SlideShare. It's almost like a backlink, if you will. The box on the left, the red box on the left, gives you a transcript. So if you see a presentation, you can actually see the text rather than a presentation if you wanted to scroll down and see it. And you can see that it shows you the numbers on the left, the first slide, the second slide, the third slide. It shows you what the text is that are on those slides. So if you saw someone's presentation that was particularly appealing or a topic that you liked, you can download their presentation, but you can also get the text and cut and paste.
Just real quick, Dave, one of the things that I do too is sometimes I'll search for a SlideShare presentation, maybe to use it to jumpstart my presentation. And I might download it and then change the backgrounds of the graphics, or maybe take some of the graphics, or do whatever with it. If it's downloadable, that's a great way for me to start off a presentation as well. And
I think most of them are downloadable.
Yeah, when you set it up, you can make it. When you do it yourself, when you put it on there and upload it, you can say whether you want to download it or not. I also, for the ones that I do, I will hit the favorite button. Again, that's the whole comment, like, and share stuff. And just one other thing too is, if you're aware of this little button down here in the bottom, that allows you to expand the size of it so you can see it full screen, by the way. And of course, this, page through it.
Yeah. Oh, there is something, Brian, that after we made these slides, there's something brand new that SlideShare has come out with called Bigfoot. It's a presentation format for their website that you can opt into that makes the footprint of your presentation bigger. So you can see it, when someone looks at it, it comes out even bigger, and it's got a black background and things, so it's highlighted more. So when you do sign up for SlideShare, it'll give you that option. You can always opt out of it later, but it's called Bigfoot. And this is what you're looking at now, is when you sync SlideShare with LinkedIn. When you go to your LinkedIn profile under the More tab at the top, it'll say Applications. When you go down those applications, it gives you the choice of putting all kinds of applications into your LinkedIn profile, including your Amazon reading list. When you put your SlideShare presentation, it shows you, gives you an option of whether you want to have one large one in there, or if you want to have a few small ones in there. And this just shows the latest article post, and it shows the latest presentation post. So this is my LinkedIn profile that you're looking at. And you, of course, we talked about this in the first webinar, but you can move these sections around on your LinkedIn post. So you could put this SlideShare presentation all the way up at the top of your presentation. You can see from the scroll bar on the right, I've moved it up pretty far up to the top. I have seen people on their LinkedIn profiles hide these all the way down at the bottom, and I think that's almost counterproductive, because you're spending so much time and energy to put these things into your SlideShare account, your LinkedIn profile. When it's hidden all the way down at the bottom of your LinkedIn profile, you're really counting on people to go through your entire profile to go down to the bottom to find it. So if you put it up a little bit further toward the front, as people scroll down through your information, they'll come across this, and most will probably say, wow, what's that? And they'll click on it, and that'll instantly transport them to your SlideShare page.
What I did with my SlideShare, Dave, is I did move it. I moved it up, but it's not quite at the bottom. But I embedded a video, and I just have one on a video, and it's on an autoplay. So if you go to my profile, after you've been there for a few seconds, 30 seconds or so, my video starts to play, which I think is pretty cool. Depending on the business you're in and what you're doing, that's another attention grabber, if you will, is the video.
I thought it was a little bit off-putting, though, that you just came on the video and started screaming.
Yeah.
What
do you want with me? What are you looking at my profile for?
This is your profile, Brian, and I did this because I wanted people to see the great job, number one, that you had done, but also to see the difference, because in my SlideShare, I just had the two little things in there, but you had made a really, really nice presentation about the business connection, and this is the autoplay video you're talking about, where it starts with this screen, and then it instantly after this, you flash up there, and you're talking about the business connection. So when you scroll down to Brian's profile and you look down past the initial information, that's contact information and summary, then you get to the SlideShare presentation. This auto plays, and you see Brian and hear Brian on his profile, and there's really no other social media that allows you to do that with this degree of efficiency and effectiveness. And that, I believe, Brian, is a YouTube video that you embedded into the SlideShare presentation and cross-posted onto, or embedded into LinkedIn, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
And it's not. It sounds much more complicated than it is, but it's really just making the content at one particular time and then cross-sharing it. And this is how you can do it on your profile. This is a little article I made about Liz Pendens, which was kind of an inside joke, because there was a girl that I went to law school with. Her name was Liz, and I could never remember her name, so we just started calling her Liz Pendens. But Liz Pendens is actually a document you record to give notice of a lawsuit to suit on real property, but it sounds like a person. So I wrote a little article about that, and then this shows you on SlideShare, when you upload the article, it gives you the option when you want to embed it. It gives you the size of how you want it to show up on a website or a blog. It gives you the shortcut codes to put it into a WordPress blog, things like that. And then, of course, at the top, you can just click the button and instantly and directly share it to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or email it directly to someone. So it's very, very efficient, very effective. You can even choose the size of how you want it to appear. How long did it take you to make that YouTube video that you embedded, Brian?
To put it into SlideShare?
Just to shoot that video.
Jeff and I shot that video, what would you say, Jeff, an hour, 2 hours at the most?
Yeah, about 2 hours, yeah.
2 hours?
So what did you put? You put it, you directly posted it on YouTube, right? And
It's
then you
hosted.
embedded it to that program?
Yeah, and there's a section in the SlideShare that says, would you like to embed YouTube videos? And you just click the button, and it says, where in your presentation do you want it to appear? Page 1, before page 1, et cetera. It's pretty cool.
Right.
Pretty easy.
And the whole thing probably took you, after you had shot it, probably what, like 15, 20 minutes, maybe half an hour to just throw it all together and get it up online?
Well, Jeff did some editing on it, which took a little longer, but once it was put together, sharing it and posting it out all over the place, minutes to, if that,
right.
To share it all throughout everywhere. By the way, now since we're talking about YouTube, YouTube is we've talked about this before, about what a tremendous resource that is. If you go to YouTube and type into the search bar, how do I embed video into my LinkedIn profile, and literally just type something like that in there, you'll see 10 videos that'll come up and show you exactly how to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
It's a tremendous tool because you can learn so much from it. I've learned how to build a blog and a website just from typing how to blank. And this slide talks about the search feature of SlideShare, which has a much more limited search feature, but you can search through content or you can search for people. But that's pretty much what it's limited to now. But just to give an example of how it shows up, I typed in, when I wrote that article on Liz Penman's, I typed in search Liz Penman. It gives you the 3 ads that come up first. But then out of 59 results that came up under Liz Penman's, who's first? There you go.
Excellent.
Nice.
And then the Russian one there that showed up, I don't read whatever that is. I don't even know if that's Russian or not. It might be something else. But interestingly, I had it set for all options, for just all languages, and then that came up after I made the slide, and I said, gee, how do I filter this down so I don't see stuff that I don't know how to read? And I just went. I think I might have even gone to YouTube or went on there and said how to limit it. And there you go. And if you go to the bottom of SlideShare, you've got all those options. You've got SlideShare 101 on the right-hand side there, which will tell you where you can click to limit the presentation so you only see presentations in the language that you want. If you want to see them in Spanish or French or Russian or whatever, you could just click that language, and when you search, you're only going to get presentations in those languages. And then you can limit it so that your presentations, when you go to your home page and it shows you featured presentations or suggestions, they're just in your language, in English, for example. And that SlideShare 101 has a tremendous wealth of information on there. Again, there's Brian's SlideShare, and that's how it would appear for everybody, whatever their username is, just like Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter. That's the username that you make, and that's the address. And then, of course, our group, which is where our webinars and things are cross-posted, because the webinars are also on the website, the LinkedIn groups, the YouTube, everywhere. And I think that's if I'm not mistaken, that might be the last. Yep. Wonderful. Thank you for your attention, folks. I hope you try out SlideShare and enjoy it.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. Any final comments as we go to close this out? Comment, like, and share the presentation that you saw tonight. We'll put it out there, and let's see how viral we can, as a group, get this thing.
That's one of the fun aspects of this, Brian, too, is that you can take, when you watch this presentation, you can comment, you can share it to business connection groups or other groups that you're a member of, and put a little comment on there saying, listen to this presentation, learned a lot, some great information, something like that. and people will see you posting, and they'll see your visibility, and they'll say, oh, let me take a look at it. You become their link to this information, their link to the business connection.
Exactly. Jeff, anything you want to close out with?
Yeah, I just want to remind folks that, we went over a lot of technical information. I mean, this was an intro to SlideShare, probably brandy new to most people. The LinkedIn stuff goes into, that's advanced topic stuff, folks. So, play the webinar over and over again, play the segments. If you didn't hear it the first time, you want to hear it again, that's why we recorded it, so you can play it over and over again. And also, you can't do everything in this world. So, don't be afraid to hire a professional. I know like Susan and June and Mike Viger out there, they all coach people, do work for people on optimizing their Facebook page or their LinkedIn profile and that sort of thing. Hey, if you need help and you need to move on, sometimes it pays to hire somebody for a few hours to get where you need to be. Don't be afraid to do that, because there's a lot of stuff to learn, and you need to decide when you're in business, should you pay somebody else to do this for you or do it yourself. Here, we've given you some of the do-it-yourself stuff, so, please consider that also.
Brian,
Excellent.
I guess we should probably mention, too, unlike YouTube, which is primarily just videos, SlideShare has also those presentations and the articles. Most of it is open source. Very little of that content is copyrighted or posted as being copywritten or protected in any manner, but as a normal piece of etiquette, if you're going to download someone's article and use parts of it, because you can download these things in Word format, or the presentations, it's probably best to be on the safe side to just send them a little note and get their permission before you use it on your own. That's not for comments, liking, and sharing, because all you're doing is pushing it out on the net. But if you're going to take pieces of it, if you went to a presentation that Brian had posted or an article that he wrote and wanted to copy part of it and make your own presentation and use part of it, just like when you're back in school, you should give credit where credit is due and be sure that you credit the person's work, and probably safe to shoot them a little note through SlideShare or something and ask their permission to utilize it. My guess is the way SlideShare works, they're going to be more than happy to have it done, especially with credit given to them. But you don't want somebody getting their feathers ruffled because they see your post and they say you stole part of my material and things, and it's not the kind of position you ever want to be in.
I had a guy call me or contact me and say, hey, I saw your article, Brian, on how to break the ice. Would you mind if I posted it or reposted it on my blog? And I said, sure, no problem. Just don't change, anything to the article and leave it intact, and you can put it anywhere you want. And he did. And when you go and search for that article, his blog post comes up number one. My article in his blog post comes up number one, which is great. I just want to share the information. It's more visibility for me. Why not?
Right. It's proper etiquette, and it's the right thing to do to just contact the creator of the material. And if you notice, what I've done on mine is I've put all my contact information at the bottom of those articles, so that it makes it a lot easier for people to do that. And I know, Brian, you put that on yours as well. So that's just a helpful hint to folks that are listening.
Good stuff, guys. Well, another great webinar in the can, and we will see you at the coffee meetups and socials and so on, and catch you around the campus.
And go up to Brian and thank him for doing this.
Yes,
a lot
absolutely.
of time and energy into making these slides and putting this all together. Jeff and I are just along for the ride, so to speak.
Yeah, thanks, Brian.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it, and we'll catch you, after the new year on these webinars. Thanks, guys.
Part 3.
Part 3 coming to a theater near you.